So, hi Max, I'm coming here after a long time. My past 1 year has been quite, I would say, it has gone by in a rush. So, a lot of things have happened, and I have a son who's 1 year old, and he turned one this month. So, yeah, because of that, I've been a little away for a long time. So here I am. So I'm on this Max to be like a discussion where I also want to learn a lot from you. And I have certain things when David asked me if I could share, and I was wondering what am I supposed to share. Last 1 year has been crazy. So what am I going to share? But then as I prayed over it, uh, there are a lot of things that God taught me, and I want to share that with you. So it's something that I am learning as well. So let's have a discussion. Let it not be just me talking, because you know a lot more than I do. So, so yeah, today I want to talk about waiting on Him. So, waiting. So, when I was just finding out the meaning of waiting, so if you Google waiting on Google, it tells you it means the action of staying where one is. It is you're staying right there, or you delayed your action till something happens. So, this is the answer that I got from Google. And when I typed waiting on God, I got this answer. It said expecting from God. It said it implies dependency on God. So today, we've all waited. We wait everywhere. We either wait in the traffic, we waiting for getting a job, we're waiting to get married, we're waiting to find the right person, like Simi Auntie spoke last time. We're all waiting. We're all in that waiting line somewhere or the other. So question is, as Christians, as believers, how are we waiting? How are we waiting it out? How are we spending the time of waiting? So when I opened the Bible, I got a lot of instances where I read about Abraham and Sarah. Abraham and Sarah were told to go to an unknown land by God, and faithfully, both of them moved. Their faithfulness have allowed the promise of God to flow into their life. Sarah waited for a child, and though it was impossible and it could be only be possible by God, there's another story that really caught me, was that Hannah asking for a son. If you see First Samuel 1:10, I'll read it out. So Samuel 1:10. It says, here that in her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. So when I was reading this verse, I was just observing Hannah's reaction. She was sad, she was anguished, she wouldn't eat, and she would weep. But there was also one more thing. It also says that she was provoked during the time of waiting. Now, this always happens to us when we're waiting for a particular job or we're waiting to get married. It generally happens to people of our age. Wherever you go, they ask you, so when are you getting married? Or if you're married, people ask you, so when are you having your kid? So in a society where we live in, when we are in a waiting time and we're waiting upon God, there is always a provocation. So that is what I read here. And it also says that even though her husband loved her and asked her, am I not enough for you? Am I not as good as 10 sons? But she prayed for something from God and she waited on it and she got her blessing. Same way we see in Joseph's story, where he saw a dream, and there was a blessing that was in store for him from God. But till the time he got his blessings, there were a lot of things that happened in his life. He was betrayed by his family. He was imprisoned for something that he did not do. So even during all the difficult times, he knew he was under God's wings. He was always protected. There was always blessing over him all the time. He always found favor with everybody around him. So this is another thing that we overlook and we ignore. When we are waiting for something so desperately, we say we want this job. And during that time of wait, probably God opens so many other doors for us, which we ignore or which we are not able to see because we are so stuck on something, that the blessing that we're so stuck on that particular job or that particular person, or it could even be an acceptance from somebody. So when I go through all of this, so many instances in the Bible, you know it better than I do, so many instances in the Bible where people are waiting on God. So what did I learn and what is God teaching me? I want to share that with you. So I'm going to share my screen now. Wait, I just found out how to share my screen today only. Yeah, can you see it? Yeah. So this is how we are when we are waiting. We are just waiting for the sun to rise. But first thing that I learned when I am waiting on something is that I terribly lack is patience. Patience is something that I don't know about you all, but I lack, and my husband will second that. I have zero amount of patience. Sometimes it depends. Like even if we look into our lives, we for a particular situation we have a lot of patience. For a particular person, we have a lot of patience. But when it comes to some other people, we are totally impatient. For example, when I would always say this, before I got married, I was a very patient person. But once I got married, I lost all my patience. Okay, so and after having my son, I am very patient with him, and all my patience goes into him that I have no patience for anybody else. Okay, so Aaron would ask me, even if Asher hits you by mistake, you're fine with it. But if I hit you by mistake, you have a problem. So where is your patience? So patience, they say, is a virtue. So yeah, to start with patience, there are two spirits, fruit of spirits, which I have observed when I was just reading about it, has an amount of time attached to it. That is patience and faithfulness. How do I know that I am patient? Will I decide that I'm going to be patient and done? No. It needs a particular time to be lapsed. Then I can say, yes, I am patient. It could be with anything. It could be with a person. It could be waiting for something. But here I'm talking about waiting on God. Okay. So while we are waiting here, our most important thing is how are we waiting? Or with what kind of an attitude are we waiting? Are we waiting with the right attitude? Are we waiting patiently with the right attitude or not? Because even when so many times when next slide I so here is a picture. So we ask God grant me patience or grant me anything, and then we are waiting for, say, whatever amount of time where we don't lose our patience. And then is this how we react when we don't get what we want? This is how I react sometimes when I don't get what I want. But this, as we read in the Bible, is not the right attitude in which we're supposed to wait. We're supposed to wait patiently, where God says, even when He talks about love, God says love is patient. The first thing He says is love is patient. I can see Aaron smiling. So patience is, I believe, the most important thing wherever, especially when you're waiting on a blessing on God. The second thing I would say is faithfulness. Like I was saying, the two fruits of spirit which require a prerequisite, which is time, is patience and faithfulness. Now, what is faith? Faith, we read in the Bible, is assurance of things hoped for and a conviction of things not seen yet. So we as believers believe that what God has in store with us is good, and we wait faithfully for it. For example, if any of you go to the gym or planning to go to the gym, so I have started working out because I've become double my size. So every time when I go for a workout session, I stand in front of the mirror and I see if there is a difference. Nothing happens. I work out my second day, I go stand in front of the mirror, nothing happens. Nothing is going to happen. Okay. It is nothing will change over time. Okay, it is not the intensity with which I work out. If I start working out, if I say I'm going to work out 9 hours a day, it's not going to help me. If I work out 20 minutes a day for 2 years or 1 year or 6 months, that is going to help me. So, the key thing here, if you see, is consistency. We have to remain with the same faith consistently from the time we pray until the time we get our blessing, and even after that. That is what I want to say. We have to remain consistent with the same faith we had in the beginning and carry on with it. So many times we get, like we say, lukewarm, because we say, like, I always have this excuse of saying that I am very busy. Okay, I always say, oh, or I say, Asher is keeping me busy, or this. But if you want to spend some time on God, you will find a way to do it. Okay, so another thing, second thing that God told me to have when I am waiting upon Him is faithfulness. The third thing that He spoke to me about was count your blessings. So we saw Joseph waiting for his blessing to come. So all of the while that he was waiting, there were so many blessings that came his way. He was always under the protection, under the mighty wings of God. He always found favor wherever he went. Okay, finally he got his blessings. So are we really counting our blessings? When I had my son, and he's 1 year now, so I don't even know how that 1 year passed by. Okay, but all during this time, I am guilty of this. I have always been, focusing on myself, saying it is not happening the way I wanted to, or I am tired, or I'm not able to do this the way I want to do. There were so many complaints, and there were so many other things that I always concentrated on myself. But all through this journey, I didn't realize the kind of blessing that I had in my hand. My son hardly fell sick. Okay, I have heard children falling sick left, right, and center around us. We were traveling. I was in Coimbatore for a month. I traveled to Kerala after that. I traveled to Punjab after that. I traveled to Meerut after that. All in his 1 year. My son has seen up and down in 1 year. More than I've traveled, he's traveled. He was so what I'm trying to say is he was in so many places, he was exposed to so many things. He was on road journey for 2 days, 3 days, he was on flights. Okay, he was in a room without fan, in mess, and no proper food. But it is so surprising, even when I'm telling you, I find it something very hard to believe, because I had so many children around me falling sick, including my own nephew, my friends' kids. But my son hardly fell sick. He fell probably sick once. That was because of probably the food was not good. Same, he never had any problem when it comes to eating. Absolute. My son loves eating. Okay, he loves eating. You give him anything, he enjoys food. And from day one, he never troubled me. Whether I was giving him the food I cooked, whether it was the food the mess cooked. And trust me, that is kind of food even I couldn't eat, but my poor son ate. Okay. So he's never troubled me with food. He's hardly vomited, puked, probably 5 times, I can tell you for sure. Just 5 times, praise God for that. That is probably just because of heat. Just 4 or 5 times in his 1 year of life. Whereas I hear people saying that my son, whatever he eats comes out, he doesn't know how to drink milk, this, that, and everything. But no, my son never gave me any of those problems. Another wonderful thing about him is that his smile on his face never fades. Okay, it's so amazing. Even after having a session of puking, he'll always have a smile on his face and laughter. So over this 1 year, when I'm telling about this and I'm hearing myself talk about this, and I realize it's such a beautiful child that I have in my hand. But all I was doing was, I was saying I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I was finding this difficult, I was finding that difficult, without recognizing the blessing that was there in my hand. Sometimes you feel guilty for not enjoying the blessing that God has actually given you, even during the time you're waiting. Yes, we have been waiting. I have been waiting for a long time. I got married 4 years ago. I don't know about other girls, but when I got married, I wanted to set up my house. That was one thing that I really enjoyed. I used to see my mother setting up houses and doing this and that. So I wanted to have my own space and decorate it. But it took 3.5 years for that to come true. So that was God's plan. Probably God's plan was not for me and Aaron to enter that house, but for me and Aaron and my son to enter that house together and then start living together. Probably God makes you wait for a good reason. Always. If you wait it out, you will know. Last thing is that He keeps telling me God has a plan. We've heard the song "A Man with a Plan." Our God is a God with a plan for you. He's made the flowers and everything so beautiful. You think He will not have a good plan for you? If you read Isaiah 55 from 8 to 9, verse 8 to 9, 1 second. Isaiah. Yeah, it says here, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declared the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, your way, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Our plan for us may not be the perfect plan that you think you have. Your abilities you don't know. My abilities I don't know. So I studied for 7 years. Okay, I studied 7 years for something that is not where I'm going to work. I know where I'm going to work, but that's what I'm saying. I said I spent 6 to 7 years studying something that is not going to be my place of work. I studied law. Okay, I worked 2-3 years in the legal sector. For what? God was planning to do something else in my life. I ended up working with children, and that, believe me, has been the best experience and the best kind of work that I've ever done. I thought I'd be a good lawyer. I thought I'll do amazing in that field, but no, God had some other plan for me, and that was best for me. Though we fight against it, I fought against it, I still fight against it because we think we know ourselves very well. We think we are capable of doing something, but we don't know our capabilities better than God. These are the things that I understood. Don't think I am preaching. These are the things that I am learning and I am understanding, and I am just sharing it with you. Okay, so when God rejects something, He's not rejecting, He's redirecting. He's redirecting you to a different place, a better place. Okay, spoke about this. God has a plan. He doesn't have a plan, He has the best plan for you. Okay, what is in store for you is the best. So when He's rejecting something or closing a door, it's because He's redirecting you. He is trying to surround you with the right kind of people. For me, this has been very important. Surrounding yourself with the right kind of people. When you don't even know, when you get caught up in the wrong kind of set of friends, you think, yes, they're very helpful. They give you very logical solution for everything that comes across your way, your problems and everything. But unless you are connected to a person who's godly, you will not get the right solution. And I am glad I have friends like that. Second, when you're disappointed with something, it's because He's got something better for you. Okay, there's so many times that we are disappointed. We don't get the kind of job that we want. We don't get the kind of career that we want. Okay, we are not in the place that we want to be. Like right now, Aaron and I are in places where there is absolutely nothing. We are the kind of people, he is the kind of people who would like to have KFC and McDonald's once a week. But God has so perfectly planned our life that we are in places that we can't get all that. Trust me, if we had gotten all of that, our wallets would be empty by now. Okay, so his planning is perfect for each one of us. Okay, he never takes away something. He never takes away something without replacing it. Okay, he never takes away your career. He never really take away a particular kind of job from you unless he gives you something that is amazingly greater than what you thought it is. Okay, so your expectations, in my experience, the little experience that I have, your expectations will never match your experience. Never match your expectations will never match your experience. I have learned that because we have different kinds of expectations. I had totally different kind of expectations for my life, for my work. I was hell bent that I'm going to work here and I will work here. But that is not what happened. My experiences turned out to be something totally different. Totally different. My experiences are moving from one city to another, staying in different places, and my experience has been teaching and working with kids. So there is no connection between both. So here I want to discuss with you about how are we supposed to wait on him when we are believers, as true believers. How are we supposed to wait? When I came to the Lord 2-3 years back. When we got married, I am from a Catholic background, most of you know, and Aaron was a believer. We got married, and I slowly started coming to church. And when I was baptized, and I came to the Lord, and I had one prayer which was very strong in my heart. I said, one day I am going to stand here in this church and worship you along with my family. I want this to happen. I don't know how you're going to do it. You do it. Okay. This is a prayer. I can tell you from all the prayers that I've prayed, this one has been something that I've prayed from my heart, that whenever I prayed, I cried. Okay. And it was, and I prayed about it and I forgot about it. I forgot. One year we were away. We couldn't attend a church. We never had fellowship, and I got so busy with Asher and all of that. So I just forgot about it. But God never forgets. And last month we had our son's dedication, and it was not just I wanted my family to be there. Okay, I was very specific. My family, matlab, my father, my mother, my sister. No thought about anybody else. Okay, selfish there also because we're humans. But God said, He didn't, during my son's dedication, it was not just my mom or my dad or my sister. They three were there. My in-laws were also there. So He gives you a bonus. When you pray for something and you wait upon it, even though you forget your prayer, He answers your prayer along with the bonus. So when I was reading about this and praying over it, this is this one thing that I really wanted to share. This was my prayer that I made from my heart, and how it came true. So this is what I want to. I don't want to talk a lot because all of you already know a lot about Bible than I do. But this is something that the Holy Spirit has been prompting me to set in line. My patience. Get your patience in check, especially when you're waiting on God. Your faithfulness. How strong is your faithfulness, and is there any consistency in it? Like how you hit the gym, or at least you want to hit the gym regularly. Is your faithfulness like that? Count your blessings when you're waiting. Okay, there are so many times when we've had this conversation where we say that, this much money I'm earning is not enough. I need to get another job so that I can live like him, and I can live like that person, and I can travel in this car and I can travel in that car. But would you even think about the person who's got less than you? He must be looking at you and saying the same prayer, God, let me at least have a car once. So count your blessings. Never forget them. Every day there are miracles happening. The reason that you wake up is a miracle, and that God has a plan for you. The reason that you wake up, fact that you wake up, is that there is a plan for you. He's not finished with you. Okay. There's so many verses. You all know the verses already. I'm just telling you everything that God taught me. Okay. And so yes, that is a question. So if you look at a diamond, okay, diamond is supposed to be very expensive and girl's best friend and all of that. But how is it formed? It is formed when it is, exposed to extreme pressure and heat. Okay, it's just carbon basically. Okay, it's just carbon exposed to extreme pressure and extreme heat that it turns into something called diamond. And it's a precious stone, and people, more cuts it has, it's more expensive. And it's sold, like you have so many these huge brands, Tiffany and all of that, to sell diamonds in crazy amount of money. So that value of the stone is huge. Okay, but it was nothing initially, it was just carbon. So are we. So I'm trying to relate this to us. We are just empty vessels. We are broken, empty vessels, okay, not fit for anything. Okay, but God is preparing us. Okay, this is like a training time for us. Whatever we are meant to do, that God knows, and you pray over it, you will know. So this time I call it as a training time, where God exposes you to extreme pressure and extreme heat. Yes, you will go through suffering. There's no Christian life without suffering. You know, and I know that. So it's about how we spend this time of suffering and how we spend this time of waiting. We can either do it joyfully or we can crave about it. Like my husband always says, being joyful is a choice. Okay, one of the traits of a believer and a Christian is being joyful. I never knew that. So during this time when we that are broken vessels, okay, broken and of absolutely no use, okay, God is doing something in our life. Would you give Him that time peacefully and wait till what He turns you into? He's going to use this vessel, okay, for the glory of God, for something that will make you great, not in this world but in His kingdom. In God's eyes is what we should want to be great, not in someone else's eye or not in this world. There are so many times when people say, like so many people, even I know, say that look at that person, he's got a car, he's got kids, his kids are married and they're all doing well, so thumbs up to that family is doing great. You look on the other side, they say, oh, this family, their kids are not getting married, this is not happening, so the family is going downhill. That is our conclusion, that is our assumption, human assumption. How do you know, how do we know what is actually going inside? Probably this, like God says, the least will be the highest will be the least. Probably the one you wouldn't even expect in this world, who's not doing great, is the one who is found favor in God's eye. That is what we are looking for. So this formation of from carbon to diamond, I was reading about it. Sometimes this process, it takes years. And some a set of carbons take a particular amount of time, some may take longer. Okay, so are we. I may need more repair work on myself than someone else needs. So my preparation time that God has been working on me may be longer than for you. I need a longer time because I'm way more broken than probably you are. So me as a carbon piece is going to need a lot more work than somebody else. Accept it. Okay, your waiting time on God may be longer. Accept it, because your blessing is going to be something greater. It is also said that sometimes this process of turning carbon into diamond gets stopped in between when there's a change in climatic condition or change in pressure and all of that. Okay, so don't let that kind of a process stop, is what I'm trying to say. We can hinder God's process with our actions. Don't do that. Let's not do that. Okay, it's a lesson for me also, because then it takes longer for you to get back to it. That's what happened to me. I lost touch. Okay, I was so busy, I had no time. That is not an excuse. I was full-time involved in taking care of Asher. It was not that I couldn't take out time. I was concentrating on myself. That was the reason why. And once you lose that time, trust me, it's very difficult to get back to God and get yourself back into His presence. This I'm talking out of my experience. When I was here and I was attending church, everything was great. Okay, I was having fellowship, I was spending time with God, I was reading the Bible, everything. But when I went from here, okay, I had a million excuses. not spending time with God, whatever it is. I would say this is the only Sunday I have, this is the only holiday I have. So let me also go out and enjoy. Because the whole time I'm sitting inside four walls and doing the same thing over and over again. So I also need a break. But no, if we are really going to take a break for ourselves, then when that's the one day you give for God. Now these are the excuses I am making, so I'm just sharing it with you. So that is what it is. So we are. I wanted to talk about something that I read here. So I just wanted to share that with you. It says, God has plans. From the very beginning, when He created this world, He had a plan. For day and night, heavens and earth, land and sea, sun and moon, birds and fish, animals and humans. He has always had a plan. And just few verses into His word, we see that He likes His plan. He calls it good. Indeed, near the end of creation, He calls His plan very good. His plan is good because of the purpose it will serve. It is good because of the hope it will give. It is good because of the lives it will save. But really, it is good simply because of the God who calls it so. Even in the time when we are not faithful, He is faithful to us. Even when I was carrying Asher, there were so many friends of mine who were having so many issues. They would say I was not even able to get up from the bed. But here I was going for my walks, eating whatever I wanted. Very healthy. But that's what I'm saying. Even when I was not faithful, when I was making all my excuses and I was not spending time with Him, like I told you, my past 1 year with my son, what a blessing it was. Be still, He has plans, He has them for you. He knew the span of your life before you were formed in your mother's womb. He knows the hairs on your head and the thoughts in your mind and the hours that you will live on this earth. He knows everything. Even if we can run, even if we want to run from our friends and our relatives and everybody, but He knows everything. Even in closed doors, He knows what you're doing. He would not leave such attention to detail merely to chance. God has plans for you and they are good. So this is what I wanted to share today. As believers, as His children, how are we spending this time of waiting on Him? Are we spending it patiently, relying on Him? Are we spending it faithfully, holding the same faith and that fire with which we came on the first day after being baptized? Are we still have the same fire? Do we count our blessings while we are waiting? This is a big thing for me, I don't do this. I don't count my blessings when I am waiting. Because we always, there's this famous question where they fill a glass half and they ask you, what do you see in front of you? And some people say the glass is half full, the glass is half empty and all of that. So let's see it in the way where we say the glass is half full. Okay, let's see every blessing and every miracle that he gives you every day. And the last one is God has a plan. God has a plan, ultimate, that's it. And His plan is the best plan. So what God is trying to say is, for I know the plans I have for you, He declares. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. When I started working after my BCom, I did really well in my undergrad, okay, and I thought, okay, work, everybody's doing it, I can do it, I nail it. I can join one of the big fours. I joined EY. And trust me, I couldn't do the work there. There are people around me who are doing and were doing really well. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I really don't know how. I was not good at it. I was not even good at the basic work. Forget moving to the advanced part of it. I just couldn't do it. Whenever I speak to people, my friends are still working in EY, and I even tell Kinjal, I really don't know how you guys sit and work like this, sir. I never could work. Because what the purpose was not this. Then I went ahead and did my, people who don't know me, I went and did my 3 years law in Bangalore. Again, I worked. I was okay at it, but I was not satisfied. I was never satisfied. Even when I used to go to work, I changed my job thrice. I was not satisfied. Then I got married. Then I did a course, just a year's course in teaching. And I moved on to that. And that gave me the satisfaction that none of the previous jobs gave me. So sometimes I think probably I should have just studied teaching before and then started working. I wasted so much time. But probably these are the experiences that God had planned for me to go through. These are the experiences that God had kept for me that I gained. Probably it's people or it's places. That's where I met my husband. So probably that was a blessing. God was waiting to bring us together. So you never know, you never say that this is not the right place. If God has put you there, He's put you with a purpose. So what God says to you like this: Joseph waited for 13 years, Abraham waited for 25 years, Moses waited for 40 years, Jesus waited for 30 years. If God is making you wait, you're in good company. What God says is this: but they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. We renew our strength by being patient, by being faithful. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not weary. They shall walk and not faint. Even if people come and ask you, why are you still doing this? Why is this not happening in your life? The people love asking questions. I know. We're all part of this world. Okay, we have to live with them. We have to be with them. The kind of questions they ask is what we face every day. They'll ask you question, why are you still here? Why are you not doing this? Like people ask me question, why are you not working? Why are you just doing this? Everybody does it. Why can't you do it? But you know your journey and you know your story better than anybody else. And God knows what is in store for you. So this is what God says. He says, but wait, there is more. It's not over yet. So this is what I wanted to share. This is what I am learning. It's not that I have learned, not at all. Like I said, I have zero patience. But I am learning slowly, steadily. I'm learning because I want to teach my kids. And we should all get there so that we can teach our next generation, show the right path to the next generation. So, yeah, that is my message.